If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First, it's free. Second, there's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else podcasts are heard. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast, all in one place. So download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started.
Stories, the hustle, the grind, the push, the pain, the time, love, the sweat, the tears, goes beyond the lights, the stage, the fame, and the message stays the same. You're listening to the Indie Takeover.
Victory belongs to you. Victory belongs to you. Yeah, victory belongs. It all belongs to you. Victory belongs. It all belongs to you.
Norman. Victory belongs to Jesus. Victory belongs to you. I know the victory belongs to you. Yeah, victory belongs to you. Come here, Ron Poindexter. Victory belongs to you. Victory belongs to you. Victory belongs to you. I know the victory belongs to you. Victory belongs to you. Victory belongs to you. Victory belongs to you.
You are listening to the Indie Takeover. This is Jeremy Gibson, and I am here with a very special guest who you just heard on Todd Delaney's Victory Belongs to Jesus reprise, literally killing at the end. So I want to introduce to everyone, actually I'm going to have him introduce himself to the world, but I am honored to sit here and talk to an incredible voice in music, Mr. Ron Poindexter. Come on and share with the world who you are, what you do, where you're from, all of that good stuff.
What's going on, y'all? This is, like you said, Ron Poindexter. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. Just a little regular guy from the city of Chicago that love to sing.
All right. Now, you love to sing, but you don't just sing. You sang. Like, I mean, I listened to I Didn't Die at least 15 times when I first downloaded it. I was like, yo, this is fire. And we're gonna play that too a little later. But tell us a little bit about how you got into music. What is your experience? When did it start? Where did it start? How did it start?
Well, I've been singing all my life. This wasn't really what I thought I was gonna be doing. This wasn't in my plans. should I say. But music has been around since I was a kid. My mom was a professional singer. My mom had worked and sang with a lot of people, the Hawkins included, and things or whatever. So, like, my mom was kind of heavy in the industry or whatever, and I felt like that was her thing. And then, like, maybe when I started getting, like, 14, 15, like, I started getting pulled on a little bit more musically. Still didn't think that was what I was supposed to be doing, but I was just like, hey, it's a good time. And then probably, like, I did some sessions and things around that time, too. When I was like 14, 15 years old, I was operating in the adult capacity as a kid. Whether it was church ministry or just, working with other people, whether it was doing background and sessions and things of that sort. Then, like, I didn't get serious about it until, like, maybe, like, my junior, senior in high school. And that was because of a bad car accident I was in. I was in a car accident with my godbrother, and I was on the passenger side, and they had to get me out of the car and things. And I had died on the table when I got to the hospital because I broke my femur completely in half. I have metal and iron all on the right side of my body. Like, nobody would never know if I never told them. And I had like 17 stitches going down my wrist. If it wasn't for my skin, my hand would have been off of my wrist. And, like, you could see my skull, and because I got a mark over my right eyebrow, to where, like, you were able to see my skull. And I felt like God was using it to kind of get my attention, because I was kind of running away from, like, ministry and music and stuff. My idea was I was gonna go away to school on a football scholarship. I had scouts and stuff looking at me since I was like a freshman in high school, because I'm a big guy, I'm 6'4", full lineman. Like, they're like, we're going to pay you whatever you want if you're going to play for us, So I'm like, man, like, I'm be able to take care of my family and do all that. And God, like, like, them are your friends, but that ain't my will.
Right.
And because of all of the surgeries I had to have because of that accident, one of the cords in my throat, like one of my vocal cords, had got injured. So they was just like, he gonna always have like a raspy, hoarse voice. Like, he said he ain't gonna be singing too much after this, because they had been sticking tubes down my throat constantly because of all of these surgeries. So it was funny because I didn't really think that was what I was gonna be doing, but ironically, I got scared when they told me I wasn't gonna sing no more. Like, ain't that something?
Wow.
Like I was like, this is what I'm trying to show you, what I have for you. And then, like, it was a lot of trying times, because they had prepared my parents that I was going to be half paraplegic. They had told my parents he's not going to be able to use the lower right side of his body. So he'll either be on crutches or he'll be in the wheelchair, probably for the rest of his life, blah, blah. My mom was like, nah, like, we believe God, sorry.
Right.
And like a few months' time, I went from the wheelchair to crutches to a cane to nothing at all.
Look at God.
And then listen, God is amazing. And then a few months later, like, my voice started coming back and things. And probably by the time I started getting better, my mom had got sick. My mom is sickly. My dad was a little bit more sickly, and my mom had got sick, and she passed away in the process of me getting better.
Wow.
And so, like, those was, like, very, like, 2-3 years of, like, depression. I was battling depression or whatever, and I really didn't want to have anything to do with God or music by that time, because I felt like I had got cheated. Out of my mom not being here. But now, as I've gotten older, I understand that the mantle that was meant for my life, that my mom had, I wouldn't have been able to walk into some of the things I walked into had she still been living, because there was some stuff I needed to catch in her passing that God wasn't going to allow two of her to be walking the earth. So in order for me to catch the mantle, she had to go up. So, and it was like things I started shifting kind of after that. And it was just kind of like, I went from just doing regular stuff here in the city and to just getting random calls to do random things. And it was just like, because I was just telling somebody, because people be asking, like, how do you get certain things, or how do you set yourself up for the right position and stuff. And I was just like, honestly, like, I don't have no formula. I don't, like, I'm like, this is literally God. Like, this is literally the Lord's doing. And I'm like, I don't be saying that to be deep, but I'm just like, I'm a firm believer that everything happens in God's time. Like, a lot of times, like, we'll try to prepare ourselves for stuff, and like, it either be premature or it's just not time yet.
Right. Right.
Because people have been telling me it was time for me to record since I was like 13 years old or whatever. Just like, and my parents was like, he a kid.
Yeah.
And but I was a kid with an adult voice.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like if I would have let people kind of talk me into it as I started getting older, like they would have set me up for some stuff that I wasn't ready for.
Right.
Because like mentally and emotionally, I wouldn't have been able to handle a lot of the stuff that I'm able to handle now, ministry wise, and singing wise and traveling wise, because I wouldn't have been prepared.
Right. Now you mentioned that you at around 14, 15, you started getting into the industry a little more. And if I'm not mistaken, you used to sing with Joshua Troop, right?
Yes.
So how did that impact kind of where you decided to go? And I mean, I do want to address all that you said because there's so much that you just shared that I'm just, mouth on the floor about. But as far as your interest in the industry, or I won't even say your interest, but just your perspective on the industry, being with Joshua Troop, a recording group that is known, nationally, internationally, how did that affect you?
That had kind of like opened, I guess that kind of opened the door of like seeing more of the world outside of just from church, because my church was kind of big musically too, so my church did a lot of traveling and stuff too. But this was on another level. Mm-hmm. Like this was more industry recognized and bigger venues, bigger platforms. However, I wasn't like a lead singer of Joshua Troop. I was really just a member there. Like I would leave from time to time, maybe like in rehearsal, or maybe like every once in a while. But I was more so of a member. And if anything, it taught me structure. Mm-hmm. It taught me a level of professionalism.
Right.
Because like even though we were a youth choir, a kids choir, like it was very professional, very well grown, very like we had to operate like adults, but still be kids at the same time.
Right.
So it definitely it opened up my ears to like ministry, because that's true. Even though we were like a youth choir or whatever, like man, like so many lives were changed. Like I've seen people like get healed at rehearsals. It was crazy. Like it showed me a lot musically and like sitting under Percy, because Percy is over Joshua Troop,
right?
Percy Gray, and to see how he would just like flow and like how he would write stuff in rehearsals, like it would just be amazing. Like he's extremely creative, so being under him around that time, like even kind of like sharpened like my ear for certain things, or knowing how to maneuver in certain atmospheres.
And that I will say that even in your music and seeing you in your comfort in flowing in music and just in that moment, it lacks so much in a lot of the artists that we see, and not saying that to compare or anything like that, but just hearing your testimony, what you just shared, for me, I believe it just shows where that fire and that oil comes from in you. And I want to take a quick music break and play one of my favorite songs of yours, that now that you shared your testimony, I'm just like, okay, now it makes sense. It's just everything kind of comes together in hearing what God has done for you and how awesome of a testimony your life is. So if you want, go ahead and set it up. It's I Didn't Die, which is your latest single off of your live recording. Am I correct?
Yes.
So I mean, you kind of shared already your testimony, but just set it up a little bit, where the inspiration came from and the drive and what it means to you, or however you want to set it up.
Absolutely. This song you guys are getting ready to listen to, the song entitled I Didn't Die, that I did at my live recording last year, released it in March of this year. This song is kind of like a personal testimony of mine. Not so much of I didn't die just from what the devil did to me, or because we like to play the victim a lot, but it's a lot of stuff that we did to ourselves, and he let us live to tell the story. So the moral of the story is that like you didn't die, and like and there's still more time to get some stuff right. So that's a testimony.
Awesome. Let's listen to it. I Didn't Die.
I would not make it. I would not make it. Even sometimes wonder if life wasn't worth living anymore. I put myself in harm's way, yeah, but I was protected. I was protected. Then the devil tried to destroy me, but his plans always fail. Thank God for his grace and his hand of mercy. It could have been another way because his hand is over me. I didn't die. I see y'all coming out there. This is my testimony part of the song right here. God is always looking out for me, protects me from danger. Where would I be had it not been for Jesus? I can't even imagine. All I know is that I'm covered by the blood. So death passed over me. Tell somebody death passed over me. I like that part. Can we do it again? Sing, God is always looking out for me. God is always looking out for me. God is always looking out for me. Protecting me the danger. Why would I be had it not been for Jesus? I can't even imagine. All I know is that I'm covered by the blood. So death passed over me. It could have been another way, but death passed over me. It should have been another way, but death passed over me. Death passed over me. Let's get out of here. I didn't die. Yeah. Really should have been another way. But hey, stay right there and say, I didn't die. I didn't die. You wanna find you a neighbor, tell him I didn't die. You wanna laugh at the devil and say, I didn't die. He tried to kill me, he tried to destroy me, he tried to take me out of here. He even set up traps for my ultimate demise. But thank God for Jesus and his blood, his precious blood that was over my life. It's always been covering me, and I'm grateful. I'm sure enough grateful. 'Cause if I can be honest, it wasn't just the devil that tried to kill me. It wasn't just the devil that tried to take me out. I put myself in some bad situations that only a great God could have got me out of. He should have let me die when I was in my sin. He should have let me die when I was doing my own thing. But thank God for Jesus. This I recall to my mind. Therefore have a hope. And because of the Lord's mercy, that we are not consumed. I haven't been consumed. Oh, thank you, Jesus. They know I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. That's the good news right there. That it's only a shadow of death. And the shadow can't kill me. I'm not afraid of the shadow. You want to give God praise. That it's only a shadow. Oh, I didn't die. Oh, I didn't die. Yeah. You want to tell your neighbor, I didn't die.
That was I Didn't Die by Ron Poindexter off of his live recording album. That single is available on all digital music outlets. You can do like me and just put it on repeat and play it over and over and over again. Ron, I got to tell you, like, I'm still listening to, thinking about the things that you just shared before we took a break about all that God really had allowed you to go through, and it shaped you pretty much into this dynamic singer, minister, worshiper, praiser that you are now. And it comes through even in the song that we just heard, just that power, that fire behind you. But you mentioned something specifically about your mother being involved in the music industry and being heavily involved in music ministry, and that after she passed, you realized that mantle is something that you were called to carry, or something that fell on you. And I noticed a lot of artists these days do not seem to know what their call is or what it is that they're carrying. It goes far beyond the music, goes far beyond just being able to get up and perform or whatnot, but being able to stand there and say, this is what God called me to do, and this is where it comes from. So I want you, if you can, just share what your thoughts, what your feelings are towards just being able to hone in on the identity of you as not just an artist, because it goes far beyond that, but your identity in God, and making that, your truth, and how that has either opened doors for you or, created relationships or opportunities. Just what has that done for you?
Well, I honestly believe that the hardest part for me was agreeing and saying yes to this being God's will, because a lot of times, like, we'll kind of like set plans for our lives,
right?
And like, I'm just like, man, I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna be able to take care of my family and blah blah. And God, like, like, that was cute,
right?
However, that's not really what this is. And I guess once, because the honest thing is, like, when my mom passed, I was kind of angry at God, because my mom was saved. I mean, sanctified, filled with the Holy Ghost. Like, my mom had probably did everything that the Lord had commanded her to do. And she was only 51 years old. And I'm just kind of like, it was my senior year in high school, like right before prom and graduation and stuff. And I have a brother and sister who, married and started families years ago, And I'm just like, I feel cheated. And it took me a while to understand.
Right.
It took me a while to process, because I was angry, And once I came to the realization, like, and honestly, like, and not to seem super deep, but the revelation had came from me through a message. I went to my godfather's church, Bishop James Campbell, one time. He was preaching on Elijah and Elisha.
Yeah.
And I mean, had walked through that thing, and like, and by the end, like, he had like called me and prophesied to me and told me that it was time for me to stop being angry.
Wow.
Because I was Elisha, and because the thing was, I mean, even to where, like, when my mom, like, passed away, like, when the number said 0, I was in the room.
Wow.
Like, I was in the room, like, when she went up, and like, and because the scripture had talked about, Elijah said, if you see me when I go up, like, you got to be in the room.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to kind of process, because there were a lot of things that didn't unlock until she passed. Like, a lot of things that I was doing was kind of like surface, was kind of like regular, and it's not shading where I was, but a lot of things had started to unlock because of her past, like, relationships with people that she had a relationship with, like, because they was looking out for me, like, hey, like, I'm gonna be calling you to do some stuff or whatever, because we love your mom, we're gonna look out for you and whatever, and that provided opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
And then from her legacy of people knowing who she was, and like, this her son, like, this her baby son, like, and the weird thing was always kind of like, to me, like, my brother and sister sing, but I'm the only one that sing like my mom.
Yeah.
Like my sister only does background. Like, she'll sing soprano every once in a while, and that's only if I ask her. And my brother is like a good choir to me. But I'm the only one that, like, sing like my mom. So it was almost kind of like I should have known early that it was destined for me, but I didn't want it.
So, would you say, in that, and now being in the industry as an artist that has material out and who has traveled and worked with a lot of the mainstream artists today that are doing great work, putting out great music that you have either sung background for or been featured on, what would you say are some of the hurdles that a lot of artists, whether independent or mainstream, tend to face that you've seen in moving forward in this industry?
I think that identity is probably one of the biggest struggles.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like people aren't comfortable with staying true to who they are,
Right.
or staying true to the sound that God has given them. Because a lot of times, like we may water down our approach to get more commercialized,
Right.
or to be more mainstream or whatever. And like that was one of the things that I literally I promised God, I was like, I just can't water down my sound. I just can't change my approach to appeal to a crowd that probably isn't even the crowd I'm supposed to be ministering to.
Wow.
Like, oh, go ahead.
No, go ahead. So many I can't stand in that vein, and just boldly declare that, every audience isn't for everybody, but we got folks that want to, that want to grab and reach everybody, and that may not be their assignment,
And listen, and that's one of the things that God shared with me. I was just sharing with some friends of mine, and I was like, we focus too much. I was telling my brother this the other day, and I was like, man, like God had dropped in me that like sometimes we focus so much on trying to reach to everybody when like our ministry may be for the somebodies.
Right. And
like because go ahead.
No, you're good. Go.
No, I was gonna say because the thing is like I used to hear the older people say when I was younger that I might not be for everybody, but I'm for somebody.
Yeah, and we have to really know that and be dialed into who God is highlighting for us to minister to engage with, and we may totally miss those people, that audience, that person, that somebody, by focusing on something else, something you think, like you said, we'll have plans, and God's like, yo, that was cute, but that's not my will for you. That's not what I created you for. And it's so refreshing to hear someone that is so boldly declaring that I'm comfortable in where I am and who I am. And that rests in your music. I want to take a quick another music break and listen to your single Just Jesus. Feel free, set it up how you want, and tell us about this song.
This song, Just Jesus, this song was a faith move for me. I had gotten used to doing the whole background thing, and I had some songs, and I had a song that I felt like I was going to release. And God was like, no, Just Jesus is the one that's gonna be your first single. And I'm like, no, like that's a little too hardcore. I don't think people gonna want that. and I'll never forget. Like this may be weird, but like I was headed to the bathroom, and God was like, look in your phone and like look at the content of some of the people that you listen to, maybe some of your peers, and everything was He is. He is this. He is this. He is this. He is this. He was like, ain't nobody saying my name anymore.
Yeah.
Like everybody talking about me, but ain't saying my name.
Right.
And God was like, I'm trying to raise up a generation that ain't afraid to say my name and be my mouthpiece.
Come on,
so
that Destiny's Child
declare with power.
Say my name.
So
I'm with you.
So I was just like, all right. So, and this is the song that God gave me. It's called Just Jesus. Hope y'all like it.
I love it. Let's listen to Just Jesus.
great man who's strong, and there's nothing he can't do. His name alone makes all demons flee, and his blood is the remedy to everything that I need. Yes, you have authority to change all things. When your power can exceed all of my needs, my first choice is now just. I thought I didn't need any help, and I was so wrong. There is a man I know who is awesome and true. A great man who is strong, and there's nothing he can't do. His name alone makes all demons flee, and his blood is the remedy to everything that I need. The more, yes, you have authority to change all things. When your power can exceed all of my needs, my first choice is now just Jesus. I have no other choice but him. I heard an old song say, try the Lord Jesus. He will fix it for you. I'm a witness that he's a great fixer. All you gotta do is call on his name. Everybody sing. No other name under heaven can save us. He is the way, the truth, and the light. No man comes unto the Father but by him. I heard the scripture say in Romans 10:13, for whosoever shall call upon the name of the Lord shall be saved. Can you help me call him and we can get saved together? Call on Jesus. Oh, Jesus, the consistent one, the all-knowing one. Oh, Jesus, Emmanuel, Emmanuel, God is with us. I say you said his name shall be called Wonderful, Counselor, the Almighty God, Prince of Peace, Everlasting God. But I like to call him my hero, my everything. He's been everything. He's been everything. My provider, my protector, my director, even my shelter. You can just give me the one who can heal. Just give me the one who can save. Just give me the one who can deliver. You can have everything else, but I've made my choice. Give me Jesus. Give me Jesus. When it's all over, every knee is gonna have to bow. Every tongue is gonna have to confess that Jesus is Lord. Yeah, Jesus. Thank God for Jesus.
This is Demetrius Toll Free, and you're listening to freedomradio.com.
All right, we are sitting here with Ron Poindexter all the way from Chi-Town, and he is, I mean, I'm telling you, the music is in good hands when you know that there's people like Ron who are walking in who God called them to be and what God called them to do. We just got through talking about a very, I want to say, big and a very big issue in music. And I won't just say that it's in gospel, but when it comes to entertainment, a lot of times people are used to, playing a role and not really walking in their identity. And Ron just really touched on a great piece of that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to emulate or being inspired by different people, different artists, different influences, and things like that. But at the end of the day, there can only be one you. So to kind of segue into one of the next things I want to talk about, who has or who does inspire you as an artist, as a songwriter, as a singer? Who are some of the people you're listening to, have listened to, are fans of, or who's on your iPod right now?
Ooh, on my in my music library, it's some of everything because I listen to a lot of music. I love country music, believe it or not. I love country music. I feel like the lyrical content is always great, and the music, it always makes sense. But that's just me. But to kind of piggyback just a little bit on what you were saying about the whole I didn't think about it's okay to be mentored and things of that sort. Kim Burrell, who I'm a fan of, is one of the people that's on my list. She said something that was so powerful one time a couple years ago, and it changed my life. She said, it's great to be influenced, but you'll never be a replica of anybody else because God is too creative to repeat himself. Right.
Wow. Yeah. Absolutely.
Like that blew my mind. Like, it's my life forever because that not only shows that you know who you are, but that also shows if the person who's influencing you or mentoring you, if they're a bad mentor, because a good mentor is gonna let you take pieces and then still mold who you are.
Right.
A bad one will turn you into them.
Right.
And my growing up, like my voice is high now, but when I was younger, my voice was really high, so I would almost be like scared to sing because I feel like boys' voices shouldn't be that high. And my mom would buy me like the Daryl Coley and the James Moore VHS and cassette tapes, and she's like, "Hey man, their voice is high." And like those are probably two of my biggest influences as a child. Daryl Coley was more like the technical.
Yeah,
like a little bit more fancy, like almost kind of like I could sing, but I went to school for this, and I can do it all.
Right.
James Woe was just like your flat foot, just gut wrench singing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I mean, just belting and just like not caring. Like it was just so good. And I guess. And I mean, my mom was one of my biggest influences. I feel like my mom was one of my favorite singers ever. And then after that, when I started getting more to like the contemporary thing, I guess, like my dad was a big John P. Key fan. So I used to listen to a lot of John P. Key.
Yeah.
Honestly, I used to be a fan of like Men of Stature at one little season.
Yeah. Come on, the
like,
Victory album.
Their music, man, I thought like they had some really, really good music, but I was more so of a choir head, believe it or not. So I was like fans of like singers who sang with choirs.
Yeah.
So like, it was like, of course, like Timothy, Figueroa, like I'm just like, oh my God, like people ain't singing like this, like people from the Kirk High singers, like oh my God, like. The people who sing with these other people, like I was always kind of a fan of those, type of people. Like like when you get in the whistle of somebody because of somebody else's platform. Because I was at my first time ever hearing Kim Burrell for real was here in Chicago at Ricky Dillard did a live recording here at the ANC. Yeah, so like she came up, she did a reprise to the song called "Jesus Paid It All." It just like has soaked up the room. Like,
yeah, I
was just like mesmerized as a kid. Like it was just like super, just crazy to me. Just like I'm just like this lady, why is she singing like this? This is incredible. I ain't never heard nobody sing like this.
Right.
And then like it was like Chicago is a musical city. So like a lot of people pull from here, like whether it's their band, their background singers, their graphic people, their PRs, their band. Like we're such a musical city, you know, like we're like the home of gospel music, you know. This is where James Lee and Alton Walk all from, you know, they call us, you know, the home of gospel music. And so our city, like we can see anybody here. Like I mean, depending on what church you went to, you can see anybody popping up in your church
Right.
on a Sunday morning. Like, I mean, like, they in town is just popping up in your church. Like, Tremaine Hawkins will pop up at my church, at my home church. You know, just show up.
Wow.
You know, and they in town. And it was just like, like, the city kind of, like, cultivated a lot of, I guess, what was in me because, like, we have a lot of, like, unsung heroes here, too.
Absolutely.
That are great, which could kind of segue into something else about people getting comfortable and complacent and not being able to see further than where they are, but nevertheless. But bless you. But it's just like, man, like it's a lot of culture here in Chicago that I feel like helped me become who I was because some of my favorite singers don't nobody know their name, and they live here in the city.
Wow.
And they're some of the coldest people you ever want to hear, like will leave you like crying.
Wow. I think there's so many areas in the gospel field, excuse me, where we have these unsung heroes, so to speak, like you were saying, that people sometimes will never hear, you know. I when I say that, I mean, you know, maybe not on a major platform, but
right,
it, you know, and I know some individuals that I feel like, yo, like the world needs to hear you, but they're okay.
Yes.
They're okay where they are, you know. And I think that again, that goes to talking about identity and just being comfortable where you are, you know, and what you do. So I want to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and we're going to just ask a few questions, just getting to know Ron a little better, and explore more of your thoughts and your perceptions of the industry, your experience as a songwriter, artist, producer, background singer, all of that good stuff. So we'll be right back after this.
My dad came to live with us last month, and, you know, it's going pretty well.
I feel like I never have time for myself.
With him being around more, it really lets us catch up on things.
His memory isn't what it used to be.
We get up and we have coffee.
He usually wakes up at 4:30.
Then we go for a walk.
He needs lots of my attention.
I do need to keep an eye on his medications, though. That's important.
Sometimes I feel like a pharmacist.
I'd say John and the kids are adjusting pretty well.
They honestly have no idea what I'm going through.
It can be a little challenging.
Help.
But so far, so good.
I could really use just a little help.
For those dealing with the daily struggles of caring for a loved one, we hear you. That's why AARP created a community with experts and other caregivers for advice, tips, and support. Together, let's help each other better care for ourselves and the ones we love. Visit aarp.org/caregiving. A public service announcement brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey everybody, it's your girl here, Crystal Aiken, and you're listening to freedomradio.com.
We are back, and I'm telling you, Ron Poindexter is giving us some really great moments and words to live by, things that have encouraged him, things that have inspired him, and I want to thank you for just being available, for sharing what you've shared so far. I do want
to be on here.
It is. I'm telling you, this platform really is just to give kind of some background to it. The Indie Takeover is really a platform for artists to share their story, their message, their mission, and their music with all that are listening. You know, we don't know where it'll go, where this will take us, but I believe it's necessary for individuals, independent artists, musicians, singers, to understand that who and what they are is everything that you go through is for a purpose. You know, it helps shape, you know, your message. It helps shape your sound, all of that. But for some reason in gospel, in music, we tend to have a very difficult time accepting individuals that don't necessarily adhere to the labels that we place on them. For example, we have Mally Music, who now no longer refers to himself as a gospel artist, but an R&B soul artist. We have Lecrae, who does not want to be called a gospel rapper, but just a rapper that loves Jesus, or, you know, a Christian that raps. And then we have Chance the Rapper, who is a hip hop artist that is, you know, passionate and so sold out for God, but their message, their delivery is not the traditional message that most of us are used to. So what would you say to that? Because Chance is from your city, I believe. He's from Chicago.
Yes.
So what would you say to that as an artist? What are your thoughts?
Well, I'm a firm believer that that ministry doesn't always have to be preached or presented in a way of us of the generation before us have what we have perceived church and ministry is, or what is acceptable. I feel like a lot of that is kind of like religion, and traditionalism. And the thing is that, like, I'm young, like I just turned 25, but I'm old, so it's like, so I get it, you know, like I'm holding this kid or whatever. However, but I feel like, you know, there is a difference when we kind of shift from religion to relationship. And I think my perspective is probably a little different compared to some others, because I don't just work for gospel artists. I work for some secular artists,
right?
And I work for some of them too, and like, this is no say, and like, not to sound super funny, but I've stood in some of their prayer circles before we went up to perform and have felt God's presence more in their prayers than some of the people I work for who say gospel.
Right. And I will say this: I've had the opportunity at times to sing and be around a few secular artists, and again, no shade to any gospel artists. But even in the business dealings, you know, some secular artists have more integrity and walk with, you know, much more conviction about what they do than some gospel artists. Again, that's no shade, no disrespect, but it is
but it's all truth.
Right. And I want to ask you too, what are some of the things that you have seen that as an artist, as someone, you know, heavily involved in the music industry, that you say it has to change? It has to, you know, this is something I won't do. You know, what are some of those things that you have noticed?
As far as like in the gospel industry?
Just music in general. It doesn't necessarily have to be gospel.
Well, I mean, I always have integrity. So like, one thing I won't do is play with people's times and money, because I don't want nobody to play with mine. Okay. Right. I feel like the creativity has kind of like minimized in certain areas. And I'm bothered by it, because I feel like, because, you know, piggybacking on what we were saying earlier, how everybody's trying to be the next whoever, and nobody is being creative on their own, so everybody kind of sounding alike. A lot of the music is sounding alike. A lot of the approach is sounding alike. So it's just kind of like, what makes you different? Right. And like, and a lot of people hate that question. They hate that question. Like, what makes you different? Well, I mean, I'm me. Well, no, you're like, you're really not.
Right.
Like, I feel like the lack of creativity, and I mean, even being in a whole place with who you are, period. Because which which I don't want to, get preachy, but a lot of people who are doing this music thing, whether it's gospel, secular, whatever, like a lot of them are like bleeding on on the people.
Oh my God, man.
Because a lot of people love to play the victim. Everything is about us or whatever. And the thing is, like, some people are comfortable with being other people because they don't know how to fully accept who they are. They don't know how to fully accept themselves. I heard a woman guy teach a little while ago, and it had changed my whole perspective because I got an epiphany out of the message. She was teaching about the 10 lepers and how the scripture was saying that as they went, they were healed. So the scripture says that as they went, all of the 10 lepers were healed. Now, the one who came back, there was one of them out of the 10 that came back and found their way back to Jesus, to say thank you or to be appreciative. And Jesus said to that leper, your faith has made you whole. Now, we were under the impression that all of them were walking in faith, but they weren't. Like, they were just being obedient to what had been said. So as long as they just walked out what was said, it was going to happen for them. So all of them got healed. But the one who came back say thank you was made whole. And some people have settled with just being healed, not knowing that there's more.
Oh, my.
Like some people have some people have for real just like settle and just like I'm healed, but they're not in a whole place because being healed is like, and just using this as a scenario, like being healed is like we were friends or we were in a relationship, and it's like now I can be in the same room with you. Like being whole is like I can speak to you and not feel no resentment.
Right. And we are very, and I say we because I feel like a lot of times that is a church thing. Folks get comfortable, saying, "Oh, I forgave such and such," or I'm over it. But until you have to face that thing or face that person, all your words are pretty much just that, words. I want to ask you just on just some getting to know Ron pieces. If you had the opportunity to collaborate with an artist, whether living or deceased, who would it be?
Is this any genre?
Any genre.
Ooh, this is good. This is hard. There's so many. One that I would probably love is Rascal Flatts. I love Rascal Flatts.
Okay. Second question. Not sure if you are a Disney fan, but if you had the opportunity, if you had the good, you. We'll add you to the friends list because I'm a Disney fan.
Yes.
So if you had the opportunity to redo one Disney song, what song would it be?
Oh, it's so good. This is hard. There's so many good ones. This may sound funny. I would love to redo Hakuna Matata.
That's a worship song.
Make the intent, a little bit more.
Yeah.
Like a little bit more pushable.
Yeah.
I would probably have a good time with that.
I think you should try it. And I will be the first to purchase it on iTunes or wherever it's available. And Lion King is one of my favorite Disney movies.
Yeah, that's a classic, and I feel like that song, a lot of those, because I feel like one of the soundtracks that took you to the cave was that Prince of Egypt record. But because that one, how you laid on the floor, trying to talking your prayer language.
Right.
Listen, but yeah, like, oh my goodness, like, cause even like the Circle of Life, like that's like that one is like a tearjerker.
Folks ain't ready. Disney preaches, and those that really know me, I have some Disney messages that one day, if the Lord allows, I will share them. But I got messages from Finding Nemo. I got messages. I'm telling you, these Disney movies preach. Y'all better. I'm telling you, y'all better hear God. But
because listen, because that Finding Nemo can be a reverse look at the prodigal son.
Come on,
but nevertheless,
listen. The time has come for us to see God in the places where we have forgotten Him. Okay.
Okay.
Ron, I want to thank you. We're going to wrap it up, but I want to thank you so much for spending this time. You are an incredible, not just voice, but an incredible man that is a gift to the body. We need people like you. We need ministry like you. We need your gift. We need your anointing. And it is my prayer that you stay inspired, that you stay encouraged. And we want to have whoever is listening that does not know you, if this is your first time even hearing about Ron, I want you to follow him on social media, buy his music on all digital outlets. Look him up. So Ron, give us real briefly your social media tags and all of that, and how we can stay in contact with you.
Absolutely. On Facebook, you can just find me under Ron Poindexter, but it's my regular page, or the fan page, which I need to do a little bit more work on. On Instagram and Twitter, it's Ron_Poindexter, the number 1. Once again, that's Ron_ my last name Poindexter, and the number 1. You can find me on there. Usually find out where I'll be, who I'll be with. And those type of things. Got both singles out. Just Jesus, that was released in 2015, September 2015. My new single, I Didn't Die, which came out in March of this year. Looking forward to the record, to my full record from my live recording being out the fall of this year.
Yes, sir. We are looking forward. I'm looking forward to it. So let's stay in contact, and we're gonna end this show. Just tell me where to send my offering, because I've been blessed. for real. Y'all, thank you for listening to the Indie Takeover. You can hear us Tuesdays at 12 p.m. Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern on freedomradio.com. This is God Can.